Senike notice ukuthi njalo mangabe ufaneke sikhulume ngomhlaba. Uzozwa umunye athi ama foreigners this, ama foreigners that. Njalo. So why ungazibuza ukuthi le ndaba le ama foreigner lawa ukuthi ufaneka ama foreigner agijinyiswa wara who's sponsoring it? Who's sponsoring this narrative? Melo zibuze leyo question ngoba labantu laba ba sponsora this narrative yama foreigners this, ama foreigners that. Bafuna yonke into ize kubo. Ayibona. Bazama ukuvala nendawo lento lezi ezibalekile elifana nomhlaba. Mawuqala nikhuluma ngomhlaba, ama foreigners this, ama foreigners this. Mawuqala ukukhuluma ngamanzi, ama foreigners this, ama foreigners that. Mawukhuluma nge-electricity ukuthi electricity yadura yabiza abantu aba-afford, ama foreigners this, ama foreigners that. We always been channeled to izinto ezingazincedi ngalutho. Yes. So uphuma nini kulomqondo ucontrola ngemedia nje isicontrolwe ngabantu abanganandaba nathi. Siya complain njalo sithi fake news all the time. Kodwa the same fake news we pay too much attention to it. For what? Khona into esizuzayo masimamela le media le balahamba bakhuluma izinto ezibhedayo. Ikhona ayikho khona manje we have a infrastructure yethu la South Africa. Since 2018 is deteriorating infrastructure. Akuna maintenance, akuna improvement, akuna next la endleleni la. Kwenzakalana after. Mele sibe nendaba nokuthi ama foreigners this, foreigners that. Yini yona lento leyo? I'm not saying ama foreigners shouldn't issue of illegal foreigners shouldn't be addressed. I'm not saying that. I'm only saying asibheke ukuthi lezi zinto lezi ubani osponsorishayo, ubani ozangazo zonke lezi zinto lezi. Ubani? And why is it so important ukuthi le issue le yabantu bokufika igijinyiswe kangaka? Ngoba i-country nayo la i-country 13 million people bastruggle ukuthola ukudla kuya kasethunjini. 13 million. 20 million people are living under poverty. 28 million people bathola a grant every month. So are we allowing are we saying this country fanele be a grant state? Inothe kangaka. Ziningi izinto ezingayenzwa la, iziningi izinto mele ziyenzwe. Kodwa le country enothe kangaka inikeza abantu abafew lo mnotho. While the entire 61%, the entire 61 million people are struggling. It doesn't make sense at all. It doesn't make sense at all. If 1% is getting so much, then 99% are struggling. And then we are okay with that. We can't be okay with that. It's abnormal. It doesn't make sense at all. Even if you can try to justify, it doesn't make sense at all. All we hear politicians does is justifying why they are there in parliament. They're exposing each other. They are not thinking about policies that are supposed to be building any sort of economy la kule country. They are not even thinking ukuthi ufanele babuyise umhlaba. They are not even thinking about economic control mele ibuye ebantwini. Ayenzeki lento leyo. All they do is clowning in parliament all the time. They massaging laba abantu ngokuhleka ngoba obviously baningi abantu abathanda ukuhleka vela. They just laugh it off as if nothing is happening, nothing is wrong. Well, everything is wrong about this thing, yes, a parliament. Everything is wrong. All right? We cannot have 99% of population under the control of only 1%. It's ridiculous. We need to stand up and wise up. Because if we don't do this, no one else will. Lo msebenzi lo wethu sonke. Uma singasukumi siwusebenze, akekho omunye umuntu uzosinceda. Akekho, noyedwa akekho. You can't be surprised uma i-DA defender ohlangothi labantu abamhlophe. Ngeke ube surprised ngalokho. And then uhambe uyokhuluma ngaleyo nto the whole day kuma social media. Really, you cannot be surprised because nature yabo abantu abamhlophe is to survive. And the only way to survive is to do what they do best. Propaganda, plunging, taking by force. Yonke into abayenzayo laba abamhlophe, they just take. Bathatha kwasani ngendlovu yangena. While nina abanikeza iBhayibheli ukuthi nambe niyothandaza. Bona izulu labo alikho lesibhakabhakeni la kungaziwa khona. Lela emhlabeni bayaphila impilo yobutepu la emhlabeni. Baphila kamnandi la emhlabeni. Wena usafuna ukuyakha endaweni ongayazi ukuthi izulu yini yona leyo. Awuvuke dakhe emaqandeni. Vuka. Akekho umuntu ozokurescue la. Mawangasukumeli wena uzenzele, ayikho into ezokunceda la. Kuyaliwa wonke lo mhlaba le phesheya le. Middle East there is a war. Europe there is a war. Asia the war is about to start. Not in Africa. Oh, in Africa there is another war, Sudan. Okay. Bubheka ukuthi la eSudan la eAfrica kukhona icountry kukhona la kuthiwa le company yokugixisa ikhali. Thina sinazo ikhali. Abo bana abaletha lo ikhaya iDRC, DR Congo. People are dying in numbers there. There is a war going on lapha. Kodwa bathi Africa is poor. Africa is not poor. People in Africa are poor because it's engineered by abantu basentshonalanga ukuthi babe poor. And not we allow that poverty ukuthi ibe khona empilweni zethu. Uma singayisukumeli le ndaba senze izinto right sizoba nenkinga. All right. So kumele sisukume. Kuningi ufanele kwenziwe. Kuningi ufanele ku-accomplishiwe. Kodwa konke kusemahlombeni wethu ukuthi sisukume. Sisukumele ilizwe lethu ulibuye la kuthina. Ngoba phandle kwalo asinalutho njengoba singanalutho kumanje. Let's stand up and fight for this thing. Let's stand up and fight for our land. Let's fight for our motherland, Azania, aka South Africa. We need to stand up. Mangaba sikwenzi lokho, inkinga zethu ngeke siziphele, siyohlala sinenkinga unomphele. Into ngishoyo ngicelayo kini abantu abamnyama ukuthi sisonke Ramsa is available. Ramsa is ready for you to call, to raise your hand and say, I'm here to be part of the future of this country. There is no such thing called expropriation of land without compensation. Ayikho into njengale. It's just a pipe dream lento leyo. And whoever ukholelwa kuyo umele ahambe ayochecka psychology by psychological evaluation. Ngiyabona. Because the moment ukhuluma ngabo expropriation of land without compensation, it means you wanted to compensate that land thing. We want to legitimize the land theft. And by legitimizing a land theft, you attach things like compensation and not compensation. Here we're talking about take back the land. Take back the land, simple as that. It doesn't matter how. Use any means necessary, take back the land. Simple, it's that simple. Because talking, negotiating, it has gotten us nowhere. Akukho la sifike khona ngokukhulumela safuthi sicela sincenga bani. If ayikho i-political party ekhuluma ngokuthi la hasambeni siyothatha umhlaba leyo political, then all wonke lama political party ama-sell out wonke, they are betrayers. They must be charged kahle kahle for treason, because their treason is lying to us, misleading the country. You cannot mislead the entire nation and then expect to get away with it. If you start to mislead us, that means usifake eweni and ubulala isizwe kanjalo. Why ufanele sikiyeke wena? These people must be kahle kahle bathathu bamikiswe court and answer ukuthi why basitshela manga kangaka. Nganalutho leli bazoluchinja. Let's wake up, black people. Again. Izwe lethu.